action movies, they paid me to not do them. You know, so they would have pay or play deals. We'll do movies with you, and then that's why Amy did Suzy Q. That was a Saban movie. I was supposed to do my movie, but I just got paid off instead. And I didn't want to be paid off. I wanted to actually work and do something. So when I left, they said, well, when you leave, we're going to go ahead and get rid of everybody. So, you know, that's on you. So, you know, I mean, what better person to break in the bad news except me? No, I'm just kidding. I was like, hey, you guys don't have no job tomorrow? No, I didn't say that. I did feel pretty bad about it and stuff, and then I left, you know, and I wanted to leave. I think something why it was on top, and, you know, who knew it was going to go for 20 years? You know what I mean? When my brother watched the show, you know, like I said, it was that reality silence that you're like, you know? So I showed him the show, and that's kind of what he did. He was like, that's dumb, dude. You know what I mean? That's just dumb. I don't even understand what's going on. And then he's like, that's cheesy. But then, like I said yesterday, kids eat cheese sandwiches, cheese sticks, you know, anything, macaroni and cheese. So if kids eat cheese, then they're going to eat the show up. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. And the parents were like, didn't understand it. But parents usually don't understand much, you know, when the kids are watching. Kids loved it. And, you know, I still think that it had that touch, you know, the soap opera-ish type of thing. And, you know, so, but when something turns to a classic, like Power Rangers, then people start, you know, oh, it's like your first car, you know, when the car turns to a classic, you don't have to pay tags, and you don't have to do all this stuff, and then Hot Topics carries it, and everybody's like, oh, you know, like the Snoop Dogg of like rapping is kind of like Tommy of like Snoop Dogg, you know, like original, like Snoop Dogg's the rapper guy, and anyway, but, yes.
You don't mind me asking, how did Queenie's death affect you?
Well, like I talked yesterday or the day before, someone asked me that. You know, death is not an easy thing to deal with. You know, and at that time, my brother passed away, my best friend passed away. It was all during the same time. It was like my birthday. I think she died on Labor Day, pretty close to September-ish type of thing. And I regret not going to the funeral, but I just couldn't handle it. There was just a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean? And but yeah, it affected me. I liked working with her. You know, they used to carry her around set all the time, though. I mean, we laughed about it. She'd have a knee injury, and the people would literally carry her, like, you know, they were like, can I carry you? All right, look, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Like, every time we're like, waiting for Tweet, it would be like, if my back broke, you know, she'd be like, oh, she'd be like, hello, everybody, and they'd be like, oh, she's here, and then they put her down in her spot, and then, yeah, and then she would, like, do her lines, and they would carry her. Well, it's because she had, like, she hurt her knee and all that stuff, so we used to joke, we'd be like, all right, where's Tweet, man, where is she? She's already turned Hollywood. We're not even on the air yet, you know? And she was a sweet girl. You know, she did that part in The Crow. I was like, oh, man, I wanted to even work on The Crow. I would have just done lighting on The Crow. But yeah, she worked a little bit on there. And they would call us in for a lot of things, like Street Fighter. Ed Pressman, big Hollywood producer. This is a funny joke. They called me in, and Mary Jo Slater was directing. She was casting this thing, and you know, I don't know. I was just working out there. Well, Ed Pressman showed up. He never shows up to audition. So they called me, Austin, all the Power Rangers, and literally, I don't even think they were into auditioning us. He just wanted us to get things signed for his kids. Because we came in, they're like, oh yeah, it's great to meet you. I'm like, oh, we got the script, you know, reading the, you know, oh yeah, cool, okay, dude. Oh, okay, that was great, man. Wow, that was really good. Hey, I got these toys. Can you sign them for my kids and stuff? And I was like, yeah, sure. I was thinking, man, I better get this role, you know? But, and then they call all the Rangers in, and then Mary Jo was like, well, can you talk to my son? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I got on the phone, I'm like, hello? Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hello? Man, like this little kid must be like talking deep. I'm like, hey, it's Jason Frank from Power Rangers. He's like, oh, that's cool, and all this stuff, and I hung up. I was like, man, that's like a weird kid. He sounds all weird and stuff. Mary Jo Slater, Christian Slater's mom, Christian Slater, on the phone. You know what I'm saying? It was I didn't know it was Christian Slater. You probably think I was like weird. Hey buddy, how, you know? And they would do that a lot. People would come to set all the time, and I don't know who they were. And one guy came to set, signed a whole bunch of stuff. They said, hey man, you know who this guy is? I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I don't, you know. And he's like, and they're like, well, do it. And he's like, and I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And it was, yeah, Gene Simmons, and from Kiss, and I was, you know, it was one of those tongue things, and I didn't recognize him without his makeup on. If he had his makeup on, I would have. But I met so many people on set that they would come up and say, well, you know who this is? And I'd be like, yeah, you're a basketball player, right? I'm a big guy. And they introduced me. I was filming Migo, and and they introduced me to Warner Brothers. Now listen, Jerry Maguire the movie, all right? This is why I don't follow a lot of sports. Jerry Maguire the movie, the little kid in Jerry Maguire was working on the set. I was working with the little kid from Jerry Maguire. They said, well, we're gonna have a visitor. This little kid really likes Mark Maguire, so I just figured maybe it was Jerry Maguire's brother. I don't know who Mark Maguire is, all right? And so he came to set. This is when he was, the baseball player, Mark, when he was, on GQ magazines. He was on everything. And they introduced me. They said, hey, I'd like to introduce you to Mark Maguire, and he's, he plays ball. And I'm like, oh, that's great, man. I'm like, do you play professional ball? Or, and he's just like, he's like in a suit. He's with his manager. He literally just looked me up and down. And I was like, whenever I went away, I was like, who? And they're like, he's Mark Maguire. I'm like, I don't know, man. Is he in the movie Jerry Maguire or what? And they're like, no, he's the baseball player, and he's this, and he's that. And I was like, so I just put my foot in the mouth all the time when people come on set. One time, this girl came to set, and they said, we have a real important girl. She's really important. This girl's big time. And I said, who? I said, everybody's the same. I don't care. Where is she? And then she went down there, had a couple kids, and I said, oh, I heard you're big time. You're equal here. Everyone's the same. And she's like, kind of taken back a little bit. I said, I'll just show you around. I treat everybody the same. So I was walking around and all that stuff, and I thought you had a question. Walking around and showing her and all that stuff, and then I got a call the next day from her husband. They said, well, Melvin's on the phone. And I'm like, all right, I don't even know who this guy is. His name was Melvin Davis. And if you look at every movie and every film he's ever done, his dad was the richest man, like in Hollywood, and Melvin Davis was the biggest producer of all times. So he called me, he said, I appreciate the way you treated my wife. And I was like, oh, no problem. And, I guess. And so he said that cause most people treat us really different, and you treated us like just everyday person, And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So he's like, we'll come to the house, and we'll have dinner and all that stuff. And this is how old I am. When the movie Seven came out, right, with Brad Pitt, it just came. It wasn't even out yet in theaters. And so we're eating at dinner and all that stuff, and he's like, well, how'd you like to see the movie? I'm like, cool. I'm thinking we're going to ride in a limo and go see the movies and stuff, And but he's like, well, come downstairs. And then his house had this huge theater in his house, and then he's like, you want a bowl? And I'm thinking, don't tell me you have a bowling alley. Yep, you got a bowling alley, And so went there, saw the movie, and then he got me the Universal deal with Ned Knoll and Dan Philly. He said, I want you to do a show because my son Jack loves you. And I'm like, cool, Jack, I talked to every celebrity's kids. Rumor called me every day, Demi Moore's child, every day. Hey, it's Rumor, and hey, how's it going? Talk to Demi Moore's child, Tom Hanks' child, every kid. Because parents will do anything for kids, we'll do anything. And I realized that with the autographs, and who Michael Madsen is? From
Yes.
Reservoir Dog and all that. I don't know what other movies he was in, but I didn't know who he was. This little kid came out of the bushes, and he was wearing a White Ranger pajama and stuff, and it was kind of dirty, and I don't know. I thought the little kid, I didn't know where he came from, like the streets or something. I don't know. And he's like, hey, and the guy comes out, he's like, hey, sign an autograph for my kid. I'm like, okay, cool. He kind of reminded me of the mafia stuff, and then realized it was Michael Madsen. So I met a lot of people that came to set that I just had no clue. And then I met Van Damme at my movie premiere. So I like to fight him. Anyway, all right. What other questions do we have? I think it'd be a good fight, though. You guys need to make that happen. He wants to fight. Come on. Me and him would be perfect. Good publicity. It'd be good. Yes. Oh, dude, that's a funny question. So, me and Austin have, I didn't care. I didn't care to be the leader. I was just there working. For martial arts, I'm humble. I don't care. I'm there to do my job. We do table reads, and, of course, they moved my line to it's morphin' time. And I swear I'm not lying. We were in the table read. This is why we didn't do table reads anymore. And so I'm reading the line, just, casual, like, okay, Zordon, let's take care of it. And then I was like, it's morphin' time. And literally, he was like, that's my line! And I was like, well, you can say that. I don't really care to say it's morphin' time or whatever, And then they freaked out. And then they started kind of slowly pushing that to Tommy being the leader. I thought it was hilarious when I turned the White Ranger. Because not only did I turn the White Ranger, remember it was like coming from heaven. It was like, oh! It was like, and I was like, floating down. It was like, the bright light. And I was like, I just played that stuff up. I thought it was funny. Even on Zio, when they had that star, I'd joke around, be like, come on, man, who's got the star in the helmet? All right, everybody just stack back. Everybody just stack back. And in Hollywood, you have, I learned a lot about camera angles, filming, because I just love filming and I love editing. I'm getting back into that. Trent. I bought all that stuff.